Hey, good morning. I'm losing sight of where I'm at, where I am in life. I'm juggling so many different things at the moment. And I'm making videos. I'm trying to capture my thoughts as I go. And they're in my phone. And I've got to upload them. But it takes forever to upload. So I will say to myself, I'll do it when I get home because I've got a better broadband there. But I always forget. So it takes time. So there's a kind of a lag behind events, so I forget where I've got to and what I've talked about. So forgive me if there's a lot of repeat. But a couple of things I know I haven't talked about, but I've got to tell you, I've got to go back over the big one that happened about a week ago was that the Birmingham City Council rates was all on the estate. I was the first one to get the letter telling us that they're going to increase the rent by 50%, 50% increase. I thought it was personal because a week previously there was a guy from the council that was showing somebody around to the unit next door, and I knew that they'd increased the rent to, I think it was £6,000 a year. We're paying £4,000 a year, which is cheap. It's cheap rent, you know. It's been like that for about 20 years. They're just so poorly organised, the Birmingham City Council. That's the reason why they went bankrupt. But they basically. I asked the guy what the rent was, and he said it's available and everything. And we were talking about stuff, and I showed him my unit. And the next thing I know, I'll get this rent increase letter. And I thought to myself, the bastard, he's basically targeted me, you know. And but within a few days, all the other tenants got the same letter, so I was kind of pleased that I wasn't the only one. You know what I mean? It was like in a warped kind of way, but. You know, we're not paying a 50% increase in rents. That's terrible. So I told my neighbour, she's got 2 units, and she got on the phone to them straight away, and they said, no, it's only a proposal. But they'd worded it in such a way as if it was going up on the 25th of the month. Anyway, I'd scanned the letter and dropped it into Gemini, and Gemini basically said there's a couple of issues there and that you can challenge them. But, you know, my main argument is that I don't even, as a self-employed individual in this society, I don't even make minimum wage. Not when you actually work out all the hours that you put in and everything. You know, I just make enough to get by and buy a crust of bread, you know what I mean, and feed myself, pay my bills. And I'm not a burden on society. I don't basically claim any benefits at all. I haven't done since I was a kid. And it's not pride or anything. It's just because I just feel happier basically being self-directed and self-sufficient, you know. But that's the thing about being a self-employed, self-directed individual. You don't make a lot of money. The people who tell you they do, you know, the ones that make in big dollars, good luck to them, Zygazons, enjoy it. But the vast majority of us don't. So anyway, it's the 25th of this month. Where is it now? It's the 5th, 16th today. I've got to craft the letter and send it off by email. I tried to get him on the phone myself. I rang him up and he says he's on holiday until the 29th. I said, yes, sure you are. You know what I mean? You give us a deadline of the 25th. Tell us that the rent's going up, but you're away till the 29th. They're bastards, aren't they? Craft a letter, send it out, and then sod off. Put the phone on answer. Put the phone on an answer phone. I'm on holiday. Bleeders. These are the people that count paper clips for a living. You know that, and they get bored, so they think they're going to craft a letter. Hey, don't get me wrong. We're all quite happy to pay the rents, but a 50% increase, it's too much, too quickly, too fast, too soon. You know what I mean? It's come at the wrong time. Everything's going up. Anyway, rant over. What about yours? Are you facing increasing costs? I rather suspect everybody is. You know what I mean? I'm not the only one. But the other thing is, I just logged onto the channel just to have a look and see what my metrics were, because last night I did something with Gemini, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But in the meantime, there was a question there from a viewer. Thanks very much. You're the one that's commented in the last 6 weeks. Thank you. But it was about the TikTok video, and in particular, you know, he asked me if I was a TikToker, had I bought the stuff that I was going to return to TikTok, was they UK sellers or out of the UK sellers? And I didn't know really. I just didn't have the time to go and investigate. But the outcome of that experience was I decided not to send anything back. One, I didn't have the time, and two, I wasn't going to take the risk in returning stuff, only for them to charge me £80 return fees. You know, the bill came to 80 quid. If I sent it all back and they charged me £80 return fees, what's the point? So I just left them in the boxes at the back. I can't even remember. It was a bedside sort of table system. One of these bracket things, for dual bracket for two computers, that bolts onto the side of the table. I prefer the one that sort of stands on it. That's what I've got at the moment. So you can kind of move it about if you need to. But this one's got a bracket on it. That's still at the back. But the other thing that I'd bought in my sleep were these tablets, right? These vitamin ones. And I didn't even know what they were, you know, but I didn't open them up for a week. But I kind of remembered that my friend, he was into his vitamins in a big way. So I got him on the phone. I said, Chris, I've got all these vitamins. I told him the background to it. I said, what are they? Are they any good? But it's the first time I read them. I'm going to tell you what they are. He said, this one is magnesium, vitamin D3 and zinc. He said, excellent for somebody of my age. You need vitamin D. D3 is high intensity or something like that. It's the kind of thing they were telling everybody to take during COVID, wasn't it? They call it the happy drug. It's a sunshine drug or something like that. But he said zinc. He said, you need zinc. Right, okay. So I got them. The other one was, you know, sometimes I can't even pronounce the bloody words. Tongkat alley, Phagogia, agrestis, turkesterone, and macaroot. He said, I can't remember what he said about that one, but he didn't say it was bad. And this one was Shilajit sea moss. Now, my dad, that triggered me dad, because when he was a kid in Ireland, he used to eat sea moss. They make a dessert out of it, because it's got some kind of blancmange or dessert, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, a blancmange, like a custard. He said he used to have custard, he used to make custard out of it. He said it's very, very good for you. Sea moss. Seaweed. You go to the beach, you get seaweed and eat it. Right? It's like, it's grass of the sea, isn't it? Anyway, sea moss, lion's mane and ginseng. My mate said they're all good for you. He said, I'd take them. So they've been sitting here in a box, and since I logged on and saw the comments, it triggered the thoughts about what was the outcome of those returns. I didn't return anything, but I've got these. And I think to myself, why is it that I've ended up buying something in my sleep that will benefit me? There's no way I would have bought these under normal circumstances. And I started figuring it's my mum. My mum knows that I've got something wrong with me, and she's basically made me buy them in my sleep. So I'm going to take them. I'm going to basically have them. We'll start doing them, because they might get rid of the arthritis. You don't know. Look at this. What's that one? Look at that. Blimey, look at that one. Anyway, so we'll have that. I think you're supposed. I think there's sort of 60 in each. My eyes are going. Maybe they'll fix my eyes, eh? This one is Shilajit. Do you know anything about vitamins? I'll have to read up on them. I'll put it into Gemini and see what Gemini says about it. But they've got to be good for you, haven't they? Don't get me wrong. I do take regular vitamins. I've got them all up there in a box. I haven't taken any for months though, but I used to regularly take them in. Take them every day. Vitamin C and cod liver oil and all that. The usual ones, the ones that you kind of grew up on. Did you? When we were kids, we used to have a spoon of malt at school. We had to queue up for it. Do you remember that? And I think we used to get free milk, little bottles of milk at school, and once a week or something, we used to have. It was either malt or it was cod liver oil. Did you have that kind of thing when you was a kid at school? You see, you talk to kids today and tell them that, they won't believe you, because they don't get anything like that. They get free school dinners, don't they? Free school dinners now. And that's it. That's the other thing. They're basically stopping the kids from having mobile phones. Not mobile phones, social media. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good thing? I actually think it's a good thing, but I think it's a bad thing at the same time. I think it's something. I think they'll expand it, eventually to control social media in some way. But all these kids who are under 16, they wanted to give kids, 16-year-old kids, the right to vote, didn't they? I think they probably thought that all these kids at 16, being influenced by their teachers and all their peer groups, will vote Labour. That's what they probably thought. But now they're going to stop the kids from having social media. Who will they vote for when they do get to 16 or 18? You know, when they get to 18 and they can vote anyway, under the coming of age kind of age. Who will they vote for then? I'm going to ask my nephew. He won't be happy because he's like that all day in, day out. It does my brother's head in. My brother really gets emotionally upset about it because his son is rude and he can't get his attention and he's being influenced by. So there is an argument to prevent them from having it. But I don't believe that that's the answer, you know, preventing them from having it. I think it's got to be kind of regulated in some way. Somebody said, you know, they should make phones specifically for kids under 16. So that if you have a phone, that's the only phone you can have until you get to 18. Then you can have a new style phone, you know, the all-encompassing one. Some kind of control feature. But what I think that you have to do is not basically prevent them from actually going on social media. You just moderate it and regulate it. You give them like 1 hour a day or something like that. Or 2 half-hour slots, sort of away from school time. Because I think it must be a nightmare for teachers trying to actually, you know, especially when they start getting the phone out and recording the teacher in the classroom and that kind of thing. Because that's what I would have done if I was a kid. I would have used it to my advantage to actually be a clown, to try and make people laugh. But I think the answer is actually finding activities that compete with it. And the problem is that the kids aren't employing their creative side. Creation is being done for them. They just sit there watching it, things being created, or the results of creation. What they need to be able to do is create themselves, to experience the spiritual lift that you get from being proud of making something with your hands, like sewing. You know, in America, there's a big thing going on in America. The Gen Z are basically getting into sewing in a big way because they realise that it's away from screen time. When you're in front of a sewing machine, you're detached from the screen. You're not actually looking at the phone and social media. You're in front of a machine and you're having to think through logically the steps to actually make something. So that's why I think that with crafting is going to be the thing. With AI, that's going to lay a lot of people off. We're going to have so much leisure time available. There's an argument that we're going to get a universal basic income. You know, everybody's going to get 11 grand around the world. But what are we going to do with that time? I think we're going to see the rise of a new artisan, some artistic kind of flair that's going to emerge in much the same way that the arts and crafts movement did back in the 20s, the 1920s. I think we're going to see an emergence of that because there is a spiritual dimension to crafting. I've learned it, I've experienced it myself, like with sewing. You know what I mean? I went and bought the sewing machines, didn't I? And I practiced and I made something. I was so proud of what I made, the very first thing that I made. I did it. I created it. This is something that they didn't teach us at school. When I was at school, we had like 40-minute sessions in woodwork. It'd take you 10 minutes to actually get to the class, 10 minutes to get your apron on, 10 minutes to settle down. And as soon as the teacher started speaking, the bell went. So we never got to make anything. We never, you know what I mean? So what they should have done, they should say, right, Thursday afternoons, the whole afternoon is woodwork. And Thursday morning, the whole morning is metalwork, something like that. You can have a whole day of craft. And on Tuesday, it's going to be a morning of maths and an afternoon is going to be English. But, you know, this 1 hour slots, you can't cover it. You can't. But by the time you sat down and just started to get into the history lesson about the blooming, the 1066 invasion, you sit down and you just got to get an interest and the bloody bell goes. You know what I mean? And then then you have to get up and then basically spend 10 minutes going from one classroom to another classroom. What a complete waste of time. Utter wasted youth, man. Anyway, that's about that and the screen time kind of thing. But the next thing is, I was on Gemini last night. I was looking at this channel, and you know, when I make the videos, I don't do any editing anymore. I just haven't got the time for it. So I captured my brain dump, and when I get around to it, I upload it. I don't even put a bloody description in there. I just put a one word now in the title. And I realise I'm missing out a trick. That's probably why I've only got 160 million subscribers and no views. So I'd been working with Gemini, refreshing my listings, and I thought to myself, hold on, can Gemini basically refresh my videos? So I asked it, I said, what would happen if I changed all the titles? and put a description in. And he basically said that if you've got like lots of videos, then it will affect the actual views. He said best to leave them alone. And he said if you're getting like 100 views a week, he said it's probably worth it. I said I have 100 views a week. I said I'm getting like, I've got 1 or 2 views on each video. And he said, oh well, that changes the equation then. So I said, well, what can we do? And he said what you got to do is go onto the actual one of the videos and select the script, because it produces the script. Copy the script, paste it into Gemini, and it will give me a new title and a new description and all the tags. But what it was doing, so I started doing it, and it basically did exactly what it told me to do. That's why you'll notice, if you go and have a look at the actual channel or the videos, all the titles have changed, and they're all like they're all AI titles, but they're very relevant to the content of the video. Look at the description as well. It gives a great big massive description, and it covers off all the subjects that I cover at the timestamps. And he kept saying to me, this is absolute gold, Martin. He said, you jump from this to that, and the algorithm will love this and all that kind of thing. And it's because I bounce around a lot. I cover a lot of subjects off in my videos, don't I? It's unscripted. And it's saying that Google or YouTube actually loves this kind of raw content because it's, what is it called, gritty, sincere, real. It's not AI. It's what people want to watch. I said, well, why don't I get any views then? And it's because I'm not putting the search terms in and correctly and that kind of thing. There's probably a lot of other reasons. It's probably because I'm as boring as... you know what I mean? That's what I think. And I'm not the best speaker in the world. I stutter a lot. I stutter a lot, and I try to cover off 2 or 3 concepts in a sentence. That's who I am. Can't help it. But I'm marching ahead with this Gemini stuff. I've got 13 or 14 unlinked listings inside Lit Commerce left to work on. Once I've completed them, which I'm hoping it'll be this week. I thought it was going to be Sunday. It's not. It didn't work out that way. But sometime this week, I'm hoping that will kill them off, and that will liberate me from that activity, and then I can move on to the next one. And I'm going to have to appraise what the next activity is. I've got to juggle it, but I've gone and bought about £600 or £700 worth of Tilda fabrics, and I've got to get them listed. So I'm probably going to list them, and then I've got just so much to do. It's overwhelming, really, and I'll never get there. I'll just keep on. It's grinding. I just got to keep grinding on. You keep marching forward. And I'm still getting item not received cases open up, and the odd ad hoc requests of, they've bought it second class. I really need it now. Can you send it first class? I've bought from you before, and I look at it, I think, oh, okay. I did the numbers, worked out the profit, and the guy's asking me to send it first class because he really needs it. So I replied to him. I said, on this occasion I'll do it. So I says, but let me know when it arrives. But it's, the actual cost to me is only about, I think it's about 70p, 80p extra. But you get them, don't you? But I'm charging £2.74 for an upgrade to 24 tracked. But I do that because it's for the parcel part of an item that's in a listed, which is another story that I've had with Gemini, and I'll touch on it probably when I come to it again. In the meantime, I'm going to keep this short. How long have we been talking for? It's 18 minutes. How can I say so little in so long? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. You know that one. Don't you get bored of hearing that all the time? But if you don't say it, people don't get the prompts to subscribe, do they? Maybe I'm going to have to get one of them doobies on there that basically goes ding, 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 one of them. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Check you later. Bye.